What is the perfect vault? Now that question is subjective and it could vary from person to person depending on who you asked. The only thing for sure is that in a max vault, you would have to have 5 3-wide living quarters to get to that 200 dweller limit, enough resources to keep the vault running, a decent sized storage, production of stim packs, training rooms, and outposts to make weapons. Those are the only things that you have to have. Now with that in mind, I am here today to talk about what I personally think a vault that uses all of these space with 200 dwellers should look like and how it would work. Now I'm going to be using a picture, Google Docs of a vault to explain what I plan to do, since right now in my current playthrough on my channel, I'm only at 82 dwellers. And just remember guys, this is subject to change a little bit here and there, and it's just my opinion, so remember, keep that in mind. Now like I said, I got this from Google Docs. It is someone else's work. I rearranged it on my own. I just used the blocks of it, and you can do that yourself. I will leave the link in the description, and you can follow the instructions and mess around with that if you want to kind of theory craft and toss around what you think would be the best vault if you're wondering. Now I'll break this down into sections, but at first we'll just take a look at the full thing. You can notice I still utilize the caddy corner / skip a space technology method so accidents won't spread in the middle part, because most of these rooms will only have level 1s in them, with some of the rooms being empty. The layout is pretty simple. You have your power, Nuka-Cola bottlers, and stim pack production all in the top. That's our working quarter. It has our best trained workers in those rooms to fight off death claws, and spacing isn't an issue in those rooms, of course, because everyone in those rooms are trained up to fend off accidents, and the accidents wouldn't be able to spread if they wanted to. Now at first glance you will notice the food / water rooms, those are just Nuka-Cola bottlers. I'm not sure why I named them that way, by just what they produce really, but there is no doubt that you would want to eliminate all gardens and water purifiers, since they produce both resources with the same storage, and they only require endurance instead of agility and perception to train up, which we already do on everyone anyway. So that saves us time, it saves us space, which to me are the two most important factors that matter in Fallout Shelter the most. There's absolutely no reason not to have a late game setup with all Nuka-Cola bottlers for your other 2 resources. Now there is a 2-wide storage room right at the top right here, and we will be using that because we'll have 25 people exploring, coming in and out at all times, and we'll have 2 people like permanently guarding the vault door, so we need somewhere to at least collect a few people so we can get everything figured out. And at the bottom of the working section we have 2 3-wide med bays. That'll give us access to an easy 12 stim packs apiece, 24 total, and they can easily be rushed as much time as we needed if the dwellers are trained up high enough. You'll also notice the absence of RadAway production, and that is because even though people say that it would be the best case scenario to have people in the wasteland with one of the +8 total stat legendaries on all the other stats minus endurance, and just use RadAways to deal with the radiation, I personally still feel like keeping your dwellers rad free and eliminating an entire room to free up space for more storage or more utility would make life just a whole lot easier. And again, this would be something that not everyone would find optimal, but it's my personal preference to keep all of my explorers to that 11 endurance, no radiation in the wasteland threshold to eliminate the need completely. After that we get to the space section. Now it starts off with a barber shop to keep your male dwellers from looking fucking terrible. And seriously, look at some of the male dwellers. This isn't a necessity, and you don't even have to have this, but I don't know about you, but I'm tired of having newly born baby Jimmy walking around with a full white head of hair and a toupee comb over at 6 months old and growing up with a weird handlebar mustache, you know? I put 2 of the 5 living quarters that we need for the vault right below this, so that we have access to these rooms to be closed so we can breed or we can evacuate level 1 training rooms following an accident. And then after that we have 2 each of the weapon and outfit outposts. The main purpose of this vault right now is to fill up the codex and unlock everything we can without paying for it, minus the legendary dwellers and pets, because there's no way to get those without lunchboxes, and even then you'd have to buy a ridiculous amount to get every single one. I actually think that having more than 2 of each of these would be better, but for right now we don't have the space. It's possible that we might find space for it, but I do think you would need multiples of these no matter what. The rest of the space section is just training rooms. Endurance is the most used stat, and every dweller will have 10 in that stat, So 2 of these are a must for me. Strength will be the second most used, so it receives the same treatment because we're going to be using power, and everything else minus luck basically has no use inside of the vault and will only be used to train max stat dwellers for exploration to pass certain event checks out in the wasteland. After that, the very bottom, you have what I would call the series of dump rooms. They are not spaced because I do not care if accidents spread in these rooms because they don't touch any other rooms, and the rooms themselves will never be occupied by any dwellers. They exist for the sole purpose of upping our storage for things. I have 5 3-wide storage rooms, and then I have the remaining 3 living quarters that will give us that 200 limit, and then I have 6 extra med base to up our stim pack limit so we can always hastily send back out our 25 explorers and never have to worry about not having stim packs. So let's take a look at some stats. There will be 116 people working up top. There will be 25 dwellers always exploring, and there will be 2 people at the vault door guarding it. So that is 143 people out of a maximum 200 dweller vault that will always be doing something. And then you have the 4 total weapon and workshop outfit rooms. That'll give us another 24 people that will always be working, and that will put our total people up to 167. Those people will have a purpose. 167 people will have a purpose. That'll leave us with 33 slots open in the vault. Now, on a side note, I do think some of these working rooms up top would be just fine and just as efficient if you had only 5 people in there. But for the sake of theory crafting and making it easier, I'll just go with the assumption that we're going to use all 6 people slots in those rooms, maybe only 5 in the stim pack room since that would be the least important, so it's whatever. Now those remaining dwellers will always be training, and they will always be level 1 to lower the vault average level. When someone is fully trained, they can just go somewhere and sit, and eventually they can replace someone from the working rooms when they get to a higher level, and that will lower the average level of the vault, and then we'll have another baby, and we'll rinse, and we'll repeat. And I could basically just do this cycle over and over just to ensure the vault level stays manageable and it's not overbearing or anything like that. Now these are some rough stats. I kind of napkin math for this vault. Now with this setup, you will have 680 storage space, which it seems more than enough for me considering the way I'm playing now. And at a certain point, you're not going to need the common junk and the rare items from the wasteland or anything like that. So eventually you're just going to be collecting some rare components and legendary components, and you'll have a bunch of storage space saved up, and you won't even need the common junk. This setup will also give me 185 storage space for stim packs, with 2 working rooms able to make 24 stim packs at a time. And with a max intelligence luck build with all your people in there, you can rush both of the rooms 4 or 5 times pretty comfortably, and that'll just give you an absurd amount of stim packs, so you would never have to worry about stim packs inside the vault or waiting to send somebody back out. And this is what the vault will more than likely look like over the course of the next week or 2. And as I said in the beginning, it's just my opinion on what I think an ultimate vault might look like. If any of you have better suggestions or think I'm making a mistake in some areas, or even just have a basic question, feel free to say something to me either on YouTube or on Reddit where I posted this up. And that's going to be the end of the video, guys. That's a ultimate vault. That is the plans for me. And remember, likes help me out the most, so hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'm always playing Fallout Shelter and Fallout related things. And we'll work on this vault, and hopefully I'll have the structure of it coming up for the next episode in a few days so you can start to see that. So look out for that, and I will catch you guys on the next episode.